Justice Department has launched an unprecedented criminal investigation against the Federal Reserve and its chairman, Jerome Powell. U.S. prosecutors have opened a criminal probe into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. The Department of Justice says it's investigating statements Powell made to Congress and whether he lied on the scope of renovating Federal Reserve buildings.
The friction between U.S. President Donald Trump and the Fed's Jay Powell reaching new heights today. That's after the Trump administration opened a criminal investigation into the chair of the Fed.
What is the Federal Reserve and why it matters to everyone? Today we are talking about a news story that sounds complicated but actually affects your daily life more than you may think. The Federal Reserve, often called the Fed, is the central bank of the United States. It controls interest rates, manages inflation, and helps keep the economy stable. When the Fed changes interest rates, it affects how much you pay for loans, credit cards, mortgages, and even how much you earn in savings. Think of the Federal Reserve as the main controller of money flow in the country. If inflation is high and prices are rising too fast, the Fed raises interest rates to slow spending. If the economy is weak and people are not spending enough, the Fed lowers rates to encourage borrowing and growth. Because of this power, the Federal Reserve is supposed to work independently, meaning politicians should not control its decisions. This independence is very important. If politicians controlled interest rates, they could lower them before elections just to look good, even if it damages the economy later. That is why the Fed is designed to be separate from politics. Its job is to make tough decisions, even when people do not like them. Recently, concerns have risen because there is news about a criminal investigation involving Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. This has made investors, economists, and ordinary Americans worried. People are asking a serious question: is the Federal Reserve still independent, or is it coming under political pressure? Why the investigation is raising serious concerns. The news about an investigation involving the Fed chair is not just about one person. It is about trust. Financial markets depend heavily on trust. Investors want to believe that decisions about interest rates are made based on data, not politics or personal pressure. When news broke that prosecutors were investigating issues related to the Federal Reserve leadership, markets reacted quickly. The dollar weakened, stock markets became nervous, and analysts started warning about long-term damage. Even big financial institutions like Goldman Sachs said this situation could hurt confidence in the Fed. For many Americans, this may sound like inside politics, but the effects are real. When markets lose confidence, borrowing becomes more expensive, businesses delay hiring, prices can rise or fall unpredictably, retirement funds can lose value. All of this starts with uncertainty. Another concern is timing. The United States is already dealing with high living costs, expensive housing, and credit card debt. People want stability. Any sign that the Fed is under pressure adds fear to an already stressed economy. This situation also sends a message to the world. The US dollar is the world's most powerful currency. If global investors feel the Federal Reserve is no longer neutral, they may look for other safer options. That could weaken America's economic position globally. So this is not just about an investigation. It is about whether the system that controls America's money can still operate freely and fairly. How this could affect your money and the future economy. Now let us talk about how this directly affects you. If confidence in the Federal Reserve drops, interest rates may become harder to manage. That means your mortgage payments could stay higher for longer. Credit card interest could rise even more. Small businesses may struggle to get loans. Job growth could slow down. If markets panic, stock prices can fall. That affects retirement savings like 401(k)s and pensions. Even people who do not invest directly feel the impact through slower economic growth and higher costs. There is also a long-term risk. Once trust is damaged, it takes years to rebuild. If future Fed leaders feel political pressure, they may hesitate to make strong decisions. That could lead to runaway inflation or deep recessions. However, it is important to stay balanced. An investigation does not automatically mean guilt. The legal process must be allowed to work properly. What matters most is transparency and fairness. If handled correctly, trust can still be restored. This moment is a reminder of how fragile economic stability can be. A single institution, a few decisions, or even one investigation can send shockwaves through the entire country. So when you hear news about the Federal Reserve, remember this: it is not just about banks or Wall Street. It is about your money, your future, and the overall health of the US economy. If you found this explanation helpful, stay informed, because understanding money and power is one of the most important skills today.